Let's be part of the 9% of individuals who succeed with their New Year's resolutions, goals, and intentions. That statistic alone doesn't give us much hope, but there are many things that we can do to ensure that this year we can actually be more successful. Welcome, I'm Miranda Walichowski, principal and founder of Mirror New Coaching and Consulting. This is a topic that is dear to me. In a previous video, I shared 4 playful strategies that will help your New Year's resolutions and goals be stickier. And in this video, I'm going to share 3 more. I think something here will definitely resonate and support you this year. Let's dive right in. Strategy number 1, that is playful and makes your New Year's resolutions, goals, habits stickier, is to crowd out the bad stuff. And what do I mean by that? It is the idea of incorporating something into your life that is easy for you to embrace, maybe so compelling that you can't help but embrace it. And in doing so, many of the bad practices or habits or things that you want to reduce, decrease, become diminished. And on the flip side, many good things come into your life almost effortlessly. I love this strategy because it comes across as having an inordinate amount of discipline and willpower to achieve all of this, but in reality, it takes very minimal willpower and discipline. I can give you a simple example. In 2018, I started lifting weights. One thing led to another. I fell in love with the process and found myself becoming a competitive master's level power lifter. And in doing so, many bad practices became really easy to get rid of in my life, and many good practices came along. In order to train well and to see progress, that necessitated that I hydrate well. It necessitated that I eat the right amount of protein and carbs. It necessitated that I get good sleep. It necessitated that I reduce stress. So many good habits and practices came along. I can list many more. And in such a way that it was just so facile to be successful in so many other areas of my life. We can look at this in a professional realm. So it's not necessarily about introducing something personal or a hobby. If you want to focus on being a meaningful instrument of contribution in your work, then that alone could help facilitate many good changes in your life. One of the things that I share with the students in my coaching classes is that once they become a coach, and if they want to be a very effective coach, then they have permission to be a diva. And what I mean by that is doing things in one's life that are going to facilitate one's ability to be fully cognitively present and alert for a coaching session, being able to bring in their best energy into a coaching session, etc. And so again, the intent of doing that, of being able to be of service and meaningful contribution, is going to then equate to many good practices coming along and many bad practices diminishing in one's life. The second playful strategy that is going to make your New Year's resolutions and goals stickier is the idea of the use of data and reflection. And, in reality, numbers don't lie. And unfortunately, we have a tendency to underestimate the areas we may need to improve and overestimate where we are doing well. And when we use data and reflection, then it's hard to trick ourselves into seeing something that really isn't there. So it may be overwhelming to track many things. And so some individuals like to do that, elaborate worksheets and tracking various metrics throughout the day. But you could just start with one simple metric to track. And I think this one can unlock much potential in your life. And that is the idea of tracking your energy level. This is something that I started doing at the start of the new year. I will, at the end of the day, evaluate my energy for the day from 0 to 3, and I write that down. Then I evaluate what are some of the variables that might have contributed to the energy level being as it is, whether it was positive or negative. And in looking at those patterns, it informs some adjustments that I can make. And it also brings forth the things that are non-negotiable in my life. So for example, one strong pattern that has shown up for me is the necessity for good quality sleep. And if there are days where I do not have that, they will show up in lower energy levels throughout the week. And so I've learned that It's not easy to do, but I've learned that I need to protect my sleep in order to be able to perform well in my personal life, in my professional life, and in my lifting. So again, being able to just track your energy, I think, will be very insightful, and evaluate what are some adjustments that I can make that contribute to higher levels of energy, because energy is such a precious commodity that allows us to just enjoy life, both personally and professionally, at a much deeper level. Playful strategy number 3 that allows your New Year's resolutions, goals, or habits to become stickier is to leverage the concept of identity. Once you can identify deeply with something that you are trying to do and how it aligns with who you are and who you are becoming, it invariably becomes much easier to adhere to. I can give you an example. So again, with the powerlifting, it gives me many things and it contributes to my identity in many ways. I'm not talking about an unhealthy look at identity. So not something that when I lose interest in powerlifting, or should something happen to my health and I can no longer powerlift, then I'm at a loss because it was so tied to my identity. That's not healthy and that's not helpful. Instead, it's the essence of what that pursuit is all about. That's where it's important, and that's where you need to leverage things. So in that case, being able to pursue the powerlifting, for me, the essence of that is that I am a person who is not afraid to do hard things. And doing the powerlifting reminds me of that and reinforces of that. And it also has a spillover effect into many other areas of my life. And so then I become less fearful or resistant to do hard things professionally, personally, relationally, intellectually, wherever it may be. And so that's an example of one way where the powerlifting, helps me become more fully who I desire to become. It also feeds my idea of being a person who is strong, or who wants to become stronger and does things to become stronger. And again, pursuing that strength, someday it may not be available via the vinculum of powerlifting, but it still has a great impact in pursuing strength intellectually, spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally, relationally, etc. So that's what I mean by embracing that idea of identity. Those goals that you are pursuing, or those habits, you want them for who you become in the process of trying to achieve those and trying to have those in your life. And once you leverage that and connect them to your identity, it becomes much easier to adhere. It almost becomes more difficult to not execute on them. And so I hope you leverage that strategy as well. Those are 3 strategies. I hope something resonated with you, something that you can experiment with and test, and hopefully that will allow you to become part of the 9% of individuals who will succeed with their New Year's resolutions and habits and goals this year. Let's stay connected. I'd like to invite you to connect with me on LinkedIn. I post my videos there. You can also subscribe and sign up for notifications at our YouTube channel, Leading and Teaming Alternate Possibilities by Miranu. And until the next one, bye now.